Hi guys! And welcome back to our In a Book series here on my channel, Tessie with an H. So today we are going to read another one of Theodore's favorite books. We've read this one together and he absolutely loved it. So I thought we should share it with you guys as well.
And so this book is called Whoosh.
Yes. So if you grew up in the 80s and the 90s, I bet during the summertime you guys had Super Soakers. But do you know who created the Super Soaker? Well, let's read this book and find out.
And there's a boy that likes space, and he has a collection of a lot of ships, like spaceships.
Is it in this book?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's read and learn a little bit more. So, as Theodore said, this book, the title is Whoosh by Barton. Lonnie Johnson's super soaking stream of inventions. Every day brought a challenge for young Lonnie Johnson. The challenge of finding space for his stuff. 6 Johnson kids were squeezed into their parents' small house in Mobile, Alabama. Lonnie would have loved a workshop of his own, but there just wasn't room. There was nowhere to keep his rocket kits, bamboo shooters, rubber band gums, erector set, go-kart engine, bolts and screws, and other spare parts his dad let him bring in from the shed, and various other things he'd hauled back from the junkyard. Lonnie loved building and creating. Ideas for inventions just kept on flowing. He learned how to make rockets from scratch. Kids at school gathered to watch Lonnie launch them. And he learned how to make rocket fuel. When it caught fire in the kitchen, Lonnie's mom didn't make him stop. She just sent him to work outside. Lonnie wanted to spend his life designing things, building things, and getting them to work.
Guys, do you know what happens next?
Let's see. He wanted to be an engineer.
Just like me.
However, Lonnie took an exam that said he would not make a very good one. His dream had been challenged. Lonnie was discouraged, but he knew that whoever had graded his test hadn't met Linux.
It's a robot for sure, I know.
Inspired by a TV show, Lonnie had built his own robot. He made it out of scrap metal and named it Linux. Compressed air cylinders and valves allowed Linux's body to turn and its arms to move.
Wait, so what is the handle for?
Which handle?
Like the handle.
Oh, that's probably the knob to turn it on and off.
Oh yeah, maybe.
The switches came from an old broken jukebox. Lonnie used a tape recorder to program Linux, and as a bonus, the reels looked like eyes. Lonnie wanted to enter his creation in a science fair, but he couldn't get the transmitter to work.
So where's his mouth? Is that line his mouth?
Probably. Or maybe he hasn't put one on yet.
Oh yeah.
Without it, Lonnie couldn't send commands to Linux. Science fairs came and went. Lonnie missed one and then another until he got an idea. Now, Lonnie may or may not have asked before he borrowed his little sister's walkie-talkie. but it fixed the transmission issue. His school's team took freshly finished Linux to the 1968 Science Fair at the University of Alabama, where only 5 years earlier, African American students hadn't even been allowed. Having to compete in a place that still wasn't very welcoming, now that was a challenge with a capital C. Against other schools from all over the state, Lonnie's team won first place.
What? Okay.
Soon, Lonnie left home to go to college at Tuskegee Institute, where he stood out as a self-confident, insightful, creative thinker. He stood out as a student who asked the right questions, precisely defined problems, and formulated solutions. And he stood out as a guy who built his own booming sound system out of cast-off electronics. It even had lights that flash in sync with the beat.
Yeah, so many people can sing.
Lonnie sometimes studied right in the middle of his own parties. The extra studying paid off. He became an engineer after graduation, and that took him beyond Alabama. Way beyond.
So that means he can make some super soldiers.
Let's see what happens. When NASA was sending an orbiter and probe called Galileo to Jupiter, the space agency needed to ensure a constant supply of power to the orbiter's computer memory. The engineer who had to figure out how to do it was Lonnie.
So Jupiter is a big planet, bigger than Earth.
Yep. His challenge was to come up with a lightweight backup system able to keep essential functions going in case the main power was lost. It wasn't easy. It wasn't obvious, but Lonnie found a solution. Some at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory doubted his idea would work. Lonnie convinced them it would. He was right. As it photographed Jupiter and its moons, Galileo was supported by the power package that Lonnie designed. Much of what we know about Jupiter could have been at risk in a power failure if not for Lonnie. Ideas for other problems to solve just kept on flowing. They flowed whether Lonnie was working with hundreds of people at NASA or up late tinkering with his own inventions in, finally, his own workshop. Lonnie knew the world's millions of refrigerators and air conditioners needed a new cooling system, one that didn't use R12, a chemical that was bad for the environment. He had an idea for using water and air pressure instead. To test his idea, he made a pump and nozzle, connected them to the bathroom faucet, turned on the faucet, turned on the pump, and then whoosh! Whoosh! The stream that blasted across the bathroom was so powerful, it created a curtain swirling breeze. It also gave Lonnie an idea for yet another invention. This, he thought, would make a great water gun. First, he had to find or make the parts, including a pump small enough for a child to handle. Then he had to glue the parts together into a prototype, an early version with room for improvement.
So that's why they have so much water guns everywhere.
Finally, Lonnie tested his strange-looking squirt gun at a picnic. "Does it really work?" a man asked. "Sure," Lonnie said. "Wanna see?" Lonnie worked the pump which squeezed air into a chamber. When it pulled the trigger, the air escaped, forcing water out with a
whoosh.
For a water battle to be a fair fight, there couldn't just be one of Lonnie's water guns. He needed help making more. So he went to a toy company, after toy company, after toy company. The word no flowed again and again, but finally one company said yes. It planned to make his water gun. Lonnie also had other projects: a water-propelled toy airplane, 2 kinds of engines, and his cooling system. He found...
Boy, does he have a can called Coca-Cola?
Maybe that's his drink. He found investors to provide the money for turning his ideas into products people could buy. He made a leap of faith, quit his day job, and devoted himself to full-time inventing. But soon each plan fell apart. Even the one for the water gun. These things sometimes happen, but when they happen one after another to the same person, well, that's some pretty bad luck. Lonnie didn't have a job. He didn't have the money he'd been counting on. He and his family had to move out of their home and into a little apartment. He was angry and scared. But Lonnie had dealt with challenges all his life. He knew a lot about solving problems, and he still believed in his inventions, especially the water gun. Lonnie went looking for another toy company. In 1989, he found a toy maker who was interested in seeing the water gun if Lonnie ever happened to be in Philadelphia. But don't make a special trip, the guy said. Lonnie made a special trip. In his wife's suitcase, he carried a new prototype. He unpacked it, filled the tank with water, pumped the gun until the air pressure was good and high, and whoosh, whoosh. Wow!
That was a whoosh. Now it's a whoosh.
Kids everywhere agreed with that wow. Lonnie's water gun, called the Super Soaker, became a smash hit. In no time, there were Super Soakers in backyards and on beaches, in parks, and on playgrounds. Each sale of a Super Soaker put a little money into Lonnie's pocket. All those hours, all those years that Lonnie spent in his workshop had paid off big time. Now, he could afford to do just about anything he wanted. So, what did Lonnie do? He got a bigger workshop, which is where you'll find him today. Because facing challenges, solving problems, and building things are what Lonnie Johnson loves to do. And his ideas just keep on flowing.
The end.
The end. So I hope you guys enjoyed the story Whoosh. How do you like it?
It was very good.
It was what?
Very, very good. Yeah.
And what we learned from Whoosh is that no matter how many challenges we have in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
That we have to keep on trying and we have to keep on going. And if we believe in our ideas, we don't let anyone tell us no.
Okay.
If you have an idea and you think it's fantastic, You just keep on with that idea until you find that one person that will tell you yes. If you've ever played with a super soaker, if you've had a super soaker or know that your parents have had a super soaker, let us know in the comments below. And also let us know, did you know that the super soaker was made by Lonnie Johnson, an African American? I don't think a lot of people know that, which is why this book is so incredible. It teaches us something new about contributions of African Americans in our society, right?
Yeah.
So if you like this book and if you like the video, make sure to give us a thumbs up. If you want to see what we're doing on a daily, follow my Instagram, TassieH, and make sure you subscribe to my channel, Tassie with an H, and we'll see you in the next
one.
video.